Now for the track guide. Before starting, if you want to improve at a quicker pace, check out GITGUDRacing.com. I have a lot of courses that can help you with that, specifically in this car, in the Porsche Cup. But going into the track guide itself, for turn 1, reference for braking will be the 100 meter board. You want to brake slightly past it, but make sure you're not braking in the middle of 150. That's going to be way too late. The trick about turn 1 in the Porsche Cup car is that the road falls downward quite quickly. So there's a big elevation change in place. So the braking looks more or less like braking in a Formula car. So right now we're going to brake hard on a straight line, but then as the road starts to go downward, we will release the brakes quite quickly. In terms of positioning, we need to have the right tires on this white line. So make sure you're aligning with this white line ahead of time because the road tightens up a little bit. We are in third gear now, but we will go to second. And as we go into this left-hander, we will release the brakes more and more. So at this point in time, look, the braking shape looks more or less like in a Formula car. That's because there's a lot of weight on the front tires, and if we maintain the same brake pressure applied, even though this radius is not as tight, the car will just not respond to turn in. We will overload the front end of the car. So because of this, we have to release the brakes aggressively. We also have to take advantage into that small straight line, no elevation braking. So make sure not braking very soft or releasing too quickly at that point in time, because otherwise it will compromise this section. The other thing you need to know about is that you need to drag the brakes quite longer into this corner. So still trail braking, still trailing. You're looking at this little triangle with green. You want to put your left tires on it. So you want to cut it just like that so it disappears. Your left tire should cut a lot in the late part of the curb, not in the beginning, because we need the late apex. So in terms of steering, look how much steering we're using. It's quite a lot. When you reach to this point, you're basically following this curb on the left. You're following this with your tire because you want to cut a lot. In your mind's eye, you should see the car going almost parallel with the white line on the exit. So you want to position the car as much as you can on the left side so it opens the next right-hander. So we can get as close as we can to flat out there. It's not going to be possible to do flat out. We'll actually do a lift. But that's the idea. And when you feel this last part of the curb, you're going to be pushing the throttle, going to modulate it a little bit in the beginning because we have this amount of steering lock, but then we will go more aggressively with the throttle. Super important here, this is a subtle detail, you want to reach 100% throttle when you have 0 degrees, like close to 0 degrees, just like this, and still have 100% throttle. And it feels like you're staying here just a millisecond, but stay a little bit with the steering wheel straight. It will allow the weight of the car to settle, and then we're going to turn to the right side, you see? So you won't be too harsh with the steering. You will get to the center part. You will let the car settle. This happens very quickly, but it has to be done carefully, and then you will turn, and you will have a little bit more grip. The car will be a little bit better balanced. You'll go into third gear, and as you get very close to the curb, you will do a lift, complete lift to 0, and then put it back up, just like that. And the whole purpose of turn 1 is to position yourself on the exit so you have a nice run around here. So the time is gained on the exit. So with this mentality, you should prioritize the exit first. This means you have to position the car all the way to curb to get a good launch, and then use this curb so you can keep the throttle flat out. By the way, this was done with a fixed setup. And if you want to go even quicker, if you're running the Open Series, if you want a good recommendation of a setup shop that I'm using and I tested, you should go with Go Setups. They have amazing setups for this car, for other cars as well. The price is very reasonable, and we also have a 10% discount code. Link will be in the video description if you're interested into that. So this was fixed setup. We're using minus 5.5 on the brake bias, but for the next corner, look, we're decreasing it to minus 6. So minus 6 for the next one, just because we need a little bit more rotation. Reference for braking will be the 100 meter board. At the 100, you're braking in a straight line on the white line. Super important to use everything. The difference between this and turn 1, even though here it's once again a left-hander, once again you're going downhill, but the elevation change is not as big, and you have a little bit more time to stay on the straight line braking without elevation change. So because of that, you will hold this plateau on the braking a little bit more. You see, still holding close to our initial peak pressure before dropping. That's the main difference in feel of the brakes. Now, once you're turning into the corners, super important to trail brake in lower percentages once you're mounting this curb and cut this curb. The moment that you're feeling the curb on your front and rear tires, that's the moment when you're pushing the throttle. Go 0-100 quite quickly. Don't use more than that because you will get an off track. And now we're getting into a quite technical section of the track. Reference for braking will be the Marshall post with number 10 on it. When this disappears from your windshield, you're going to be braking and turning at the same time, but braking in the lower percentages. You have to think about these two corners, the next two right-handers, as just keeping the minimum speed up. So it's going to be braking softer but for longer. So still trailing, still on the brakes, still on the brakes, still on the brakes, still on the brakes. And now, once we hit our first apex and we're in the middle of the first and the second, we're pushing the throttle, getting to 100%, going completely over this curb, and that's our two corners. Now, what comes next is another right-hander. And for this one, first is the car position. You should arrive with the car with the right tires on the white line, and the moment that you're touching the curb, that's the moment where you should be braking. If you want a better tip for finding a reference for braking, that could be when you get very close to 0 degrees angle on the steering wheel, because you're coming off an angle and then you try to get to 0 degrees to make the weight settle once again. So that would be your reference for braking. Either way, the moment that you arrive here, you should be braking pretty soon. You don't want to brake late into the next one, because if we overheat the tires or if we micro lock them up, then the next left-hander will be quite difficult. So we will lose a lot of time. So you're going to be braking. You will go to second gear before leaving this curb, and now you want to cut the curb quite a lot. Super important is the amount of steering wheel angle right here. Look, we're using 180 degrees. 180, this is how it looks like, right? So you should be doing this with your hands. You see what I'm doing? A big mistake of many drivers is to turn a bit less, something like that in this corner. No, you have to use the steering a lot. Getting the rotation from the braking itself won't be enough if you're not using the fronts. Now, the moment that you're getting off the curb, you should be pushing the throttle and make sure you're not reaching the white line with the left tires. So don't go all the way on the left, because the next corner will be compromised. And this corner is quite simple. You will turn and brake, and all you want to do is to stay on the curb and not get wide. So just following this white line and the curb just like that. All the grip here is on the compression zone. So if you get further away with your tires, you will have less grip. So super important to do that. You will find this next curb on the exit, and now getting into the next corner, braking point will be this big tree. You're going to be braking before it, and this is an uncomfortable braking zone because you're braking pointing towards the left side and then on the right side. So you're going diagonally towards this white line and then turning in second gear on the right side. So even though this is uncomfortable, this is the faster line around here. So if you feel like you're not comfortable with it, you can try to use a bit less track in the previous corner, but it will be slower. So I highly encourage you to get more comfortable with going diagonally to a corner and then turn and trail brake. Now for this one, once again, 180 degrees of steering wheel angle, same principle, braking softer in lower percentages, but using the fronts. You're going to push the throttle the moment that you feel the curb. You will get all the way here on the left side. And now for the next one, in third, in fourth. And once you're arriving this part and you're mounting the curb, you should be dropping the throttle to 0, put it back up. The reason why we're doing the throttle drop, we could in a way maintain like 10-20% on the throttle, but then the rear will slide. And when the rear tires are sliding, then they are overheating. And in the next corner, we need those tires, we need those rear tires to push the car forward on the exit of the corner. So we're prioritizing the exit of the next corner, and we're trying to keep our temperatures in check. That's what we're doing here. So for this one, the moment that you don't see the curb anymore on the right side, you're going to be applying the brakes, brake in a straight line. Then you will go to second gear before going closer to the corner, because you don't want to get oversteer on corner entry in this one. This is one of the few corners where you want the car to be balanced. So if you feel the need to coast into this corner, even though it's a bit slower, that's what we're doing here. We're coasting a little. Do it, because it's more important to have the car balanced so you can be confident on the throttle on the way out, rather than push very hard on entry, have a bit of moment of oversteer or understeer, and then losing on the exit. So slow in, fast out here. Make sure this corner feels easy, not hard. Make sure it feels easy. Use the curb, push the throttle aggressively. Once you get to this part, you can also use this curb on the right side. The suspension will handle it. And in short, that's the lap. If you found this tutorial helpful, let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you like it. If you want to improve at a quicker pace, check out my website. Once again, I have a lot of courses that I can help you with. And also check Go Setups out if you're interested into that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.